Well, before I continue talking about creating and modifying columns, I just want to illustrate what is a series. I think this is really important before I get into this topic for this video. So before we start, think of a series as like a single column of a data frame. So we have all of our data frame, but just think of a series as this single column. It's one dimension, labeled array. They can hold any data type. So I'm talking about strings, bools, false or true, int values, float values. Each value as an index label. So this is its label, 0 to protein. So it's indexed from category to a specific index, like 0 to protein, 1 to vitamin, 2 to omega, and 3 to vitamin here. Now that we understood what a series is, for creating and modifying columns, the goal is to transform our columns for any analysis or modeling. Now the first one I want to talk about is the dot assign in Pandas. Dot assign. And this is a clean way to add one or more columns, and it returns as a new, not the same, it's like df, but it returns a new data frame with this assigned new column or columns. Now let's look into the code. You say like I have df. So I'm calling this new data frame. I'm just assigning it to the same variable. df dot assign. Let's say I wanted to talk about revenue per unit, which is a new column that I want in our data set. I could say, well, this would just be called revenue per unit equals df revenue divided by df units sold. Now this would assign from our original data frame, assign it this new column revenue per unit, and this is the function being passed in. Now let's look at that in code. Now another function that you can apply to each element in a column, well, it says it in the name, apply. So this is the dot apply function. So it lets you run custom function on the elements in the certain column. I want to talk about, let's say, our price column, and we want to modify it doing, let's say we're at 35 and we want to round it to 1, 2. We just want to round it to these two. Instead of manually going by one, we can use the dot df dot apply. Actually, we need to know which column. So df price dot apply. Now, what do you want to do here? Okay, I just want to round up these two. So in function, instead of doing a def for the function, we do a lambda. So inline function x for each element x. So this is each element that we're looking at. For each element, I'm going to round it to 2 spaces. So now I'm saying for each row, I'm going to apply this specific function. Now the next function I want to talk about, we have our series data. Let's say it's our category. And there's difference in spelling for the same product. Right? Not good data. And our series, well, instead of going one by one by one by one by one, changing it, I could just map these changes. So the dot map only works on series. So obviously this would be indexed. Remember, like I said, indexed to its value. So it only works on series, and it's great for a simple element wise transformations. Like from strings to uppercase or to lowercase. And in code, let me just write it real quick. That would be df. Okay, what column is this? Category. Now what do I want to do? I want to map the strings to upper, all uppercase. So that can go, it would return a new data frame. So we can assign it to df because it will return a new data frame. Now a great quick function to, let's say, for example, want to change this value into Amazon value. So instead of just AMS, you want the actual Amazon. And remember, this data cleaning could be part of it before you do any filtering, which was from our last video. Now, if I found this Amazon, I could just do df. Remember, I'm doing this specific column. I just want to do dot replace. If I spell that correctly. Dot replace that value that I just saw. So this is the key. So this is a map. This is a hash map where you have keys and values. So this key, wherever you see it, replace it with this value. And we want to do the in place equals true. So I'm passing it as a hash map, and it could be up to the whole list in ON operation, where I see this value. So it can loop through the whole series at best. I mean, worst case could be O of N, the whole list, replacing Amazon with this, but I'm also making new data set. So the hash map is O of N, and this will replace AMS with Amazon, and I would pass it in this, since we're working on specific category, pass it into df platform. A great method for creating and modifying columns, and one that's very typical, is for the date format. It's so common that it comes in as a string, and I don't know if that's for efficiency or I have no idea, but usually they're in string formats, and you can check that by doing the as type. So it shows the columns type. Okay, I want to change this type to a specific another type. So let's say our data, or not our data, our dates column is in a string format. And I want to change it in English as this type. And that's how I remember this function, as type. I have my date is in a string format and I want to change it as this type, right? So I can do df dot, df, what column, my dates column, and I do as type, and I can pass it in here, the type that I wanted. It could be date time, which is the usual 64, I think it is, NS. The usual format that you wanted. You wanted in datetime format. Through of creating and modifying columns. So remember the sign, it's clean. You can create a new column. So we're overriding the old data frame and assigning this data frame. Because we could have simply gave it a new, like df new, and that could have been our new data frame. But since we're overriding it, we just do df right to the same. So let's run that, and we can actually check it. So df dot head. Nope, there you go, revenue per unit. So it's our revenue, and then we have units sold, and that's 31.98. So for every unit, that's it. Now the dot apply function for the price, let's say we want to do a rounding, we could run that, do df.head again, okay, so yeah, it's already, I didn't think about it, but it's already for the first two decimals. But if we had leading trail like 31.9888888, we can just run this. Now this is not so efficient, the dot apply method. So if there's other faster functions, but that's that. Now the dot map element wise function. So if I want my category, now everything's already uppercase, so I think I do lower. Now let's run that and check it. See, now everything is lowercased. I think the map will actually be faster than a dot apply. Now dot replace, I want to replace this Amazon value with that. And so in place, actually just let's say, yeah. So running that, so in place true, so I don't have to make a copy. Yeah, because this is the copy, but in place equals true. Now let's say for as type, and I think right now I already have it as date time.